Melissa, please reconsider. Mother's voice carried its usual mix of resignation and irritation. We were in the living room of my parents' home in the Westlake area, an upscale neighborhood in Austin and Texas, about to begin our familiar conversation. Surrounded by heavy furniture, the space seemed frozen in time, maintaining the same atmosphere as when I was a student. I'm Melissa Anderson, 35, the African Regional Development Manager for the Brighton Group. I've successfully led numerous luxury resort developments. After graduating from Cornell's School of Hotel Administration, I joined the company immediately and now earn $300,000 a year. It was my pride and my reason for being. My latest project in Tanzania achieved record-high customer satisfaction while reducing the budget by 20%. My reputation within the company was excellent, with rumors circulating about my potential as a future executive. But whenever I returned to this house, those achievements and titles seemed to vanish like morning mist. The Johnsons next door just had their third child. They showed me such lovely family photos. The christening at St. David's Church was truly touching. Mother, a former full-time housewife, is now actively involved in the local church. She spends most of her holidays doing volunteer work and is trusted as a pillar of the community. Next to her sat father, arms crossed with his characteristic deep sigh. Having taught at the same high school for over 30 years and still teaching part-time twice a week, he shared Mother's belief in family above all else. Hey, I could introduce you to this wonderful single friend of mine. His name is Jason, and he works at a real estate agency in Round Rock. That suggestion came from my sister Ashley. She's built an ideal family with her husband Mark, a local banker, and their children, 5-year-old Emma and 3-year-old Lucas, while working as an elementary school teacher. She was the good child who lived up to our parents' expectations. On weekends, she brings the children to visit, strengthening family bonds over Mother's home cooking. My current job is my calling. Our development projects in Africa create local employment opportunities and contribute to environmental protection. Interrupting my words, Father narrowed his eyes and shook his head. Life isn't just about work, Melissa. There are plenty of wonderful opportunities right here in this city without you having to work so far away. How many times had we repeated this conversation? Every time I came home, my parents worried about my unmarried status. I was compared to my sister's happy family life. Even during family dinners at Caraba's Italian Grill, the topic inevitably led there. But this was the path I had chosen. Creating world-class resorts on African soil was my passion and mission. The living room wall displayed photos from Ashley's wedding. Our parents beamed with joy next to my sister in her pure white wedding dress. Beside these were pictures of Ashley's children, Emma at her ballet recital, Lucas at his kindergarten entrance ceremony. Photos capturing happy moments adorned the room. My only photo was from my Cornell graduation ceremony, tucked away in an inconspicuous corner of the living room. Mother would quickly put away newspaper articles about my work in Africa, saying, "It looks too dangerous to even look at." Oh my, is that the time? I need to get to the church meeting. We're discussing a new family support program today. With Mother's words, today's conversation ended at another impasse. Outside the window stretched an afternoon scene bathed in Texas sunlight. My office on Austin's emerging business street, Rainy Street, was just a 30-minute drive away. Yet the gap in values felt as vast as the distance between continents. My parents didn't understand my way of life. Perhaps we'd never truly understand each other. But I believed that someday they would come to understand. Royal Safari Experience. I caught my breath as I stared at those words projected on the conference room screen. This was Brighton Group's largest project to date. With a total investment of $1.5 billion and room rates set at $5,000 per night, this ultra-luxury resort near Kenya's Masai Mara National Reserve was destined to become a new sanctuary for the world's wealthy elite. The presentation was spectacular. Masai warriors greeting guests arriving by helicopter. An infinity pool overlooking the sunset over the savannah. Design that fused tradition and innovation, crafted by world-renowned architects. Each element challenged conventional notions of luxury. Melissa, the success of this project depends on your expertise. CEO William Parker's voice carried his usual authority plus something extra, a special expectation. Behind him, the massive 100-inch screen displayed the magnificent landscape of the Masai Mara. As you know, this resort targets ultra-high net worth individuals with assets over $10 million. To captivate them, mere luxury isn't enough. We need the approval of discerning eyes who understand true value. I nodded while reviewing the materials before me. Market research showed that 87% of our target demographic prioritized authentic experiences. Having already experienced luxury resorts worldwide, they wouldn't be satisfied with superficial extravagance. The CEO stood and walked to the window. Looking down at Austin's cityscape through floor-to-ceiling glass, he continued. The view of modern high-rises emerging among older buildings strangely mirrored our project's aim to blend tradition with innovation. So, we've prepared something special. We're inviting carefully selected evaluators from 12 countries for a 2-week special tour. We'll offer the usual $150,000 package completely free. My heart raced. These evaluators from around the world would surely include renowned business leaders and influential investors. Their assessment would be crucial to the project's success. The invitation list already includes the head of a British noble family, a representative from a Dubai investment fund, and a major Hollywood producer. Everything will be tested against their expectations. The CEO sighed deeply and turned to face me. His expression showed an unusual softness. "And Melissa, I'd like your parents to come." "What?" The word escaped involuntarily. "My parents? Why?" Seeing my confusion, the CEO continued in a gentle tone. "You've successfully led many important projects for our company. Your achievements are highly regarded both internally and externally. However, it seems your closest family members don't fully understand their value." I couldn't hide my surprise at the CEO's insight. Indeed, my parents didn't understand my work. Or rather, they hadn't tried to understand. After church every Sunday, during family gatherings, Mother always tried to convince me to take a normal job. Father would pretend to read the newspaper, occasionally sighing. This tour includes everything from private jet travel to personal guides and special activities, the finest hospitality imaginable. I want your parents to directly experience the world you've built. The suggestion felt like divine inspiration. It was the perfect opportunity for my parents to understand my world. I felt emotion welling up in my chest. However, please keep this a secret from your parents. Let's make it a surprise gift from you. I nodded slightly at the CEO's words. A gift for my parents. Surely they would be delighted. That's what I believed. Thank you. Mother's excited voice rang out in the car heading to Austin International Airport. 3 hours until departure. In the quiet car interior, it took me a moment to understand the meaning of Mother's words. What do you mean? We don't need you anymore, so Ashley will come instead. Mother's expression held a hint of triumph. Settled deep in the luxury car's leather seat, she wore a victorious smile. But this is a special company invitation. My words were cut off by Father's rough movement in the passenger seat. He pulled the VIP pass from his suit's inner pocket and tore it to pieces. The brand new golden paper scattered across the floor in pitiful scraps. A heavy silence filled the car. In the back seat, Ashley sat quietly with an apologetic expression, though she already held her new smartphone. She was probably preparing to post about the trip. You're a workaholic, so you must be busy, right? Mother's voice broke the silence again. The cold air from the luxury car's air conditioning suddenly felt chilling. Ashley takes better photos and has more social media followers. She'll make our trip look wonderful online. I silently stared out the window. The early morning Austin cityscape drifted by in the sunlight. They had no idea what surprises awaited them after arrival. The Kenyan sunrise painted the glass ceiling of Nairobi International Airport golden. My, what a lovely welcome! Mother's voice echoed through the elegant space as she entered the VIP lounge. Crystal chandeliers cast soft light, while African mahogany furniture created a sophisticated atmosphere. High-class hotels really are different, Father nodded approvingly, taking a glass of champagne. Several other guests had already gathered in the lounge. A British nobleman in a perfectly tailored suit, a Dubai investor showing off his latest Rolex, and what appeared to be a Hollywood producer engaged in intense conversation with his assistant. All were VIPs with the power to move the world. Ms. Anderson. Yes, that's me. Ashley responded brightly, but the receptionist's expression momentarily hardened. She checked the information on her tablet repeatedly. Pardon me, but are you not Melissa Anderson? Her voice was quiet but firm. The surrounding conversations gradually ceased. I changed daughters. We're family, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? Mother still maintained a composed expression, but her voice betrayed slight unease. The distributed luxury brochures listed the participants' backgrounds. Head of a British noble family. CEO of the Middle East's largest investment fund. Academy Award-winning producer. Father's hands were trembling. What should we do? It's fine, they'll understand if we explain. Mother was still putting on a brave face, but her voice had lost its certainty. Ashley silently stared at her smartphone. Her usual confident expression had vanished, replaced by deep anxiety. Now, we'd like to hear from Melissa Anderson, Brighton Group's African Development Director, about her vision for this project. A BBC reporter introduced this in refined British accent. The impromptu press conference area in the VIP lounge was lined with cameras from major global media outlets, including CNN and Al Jazeera. Mother instinctively stepped forward. "I'm her mother. In her place." At that moment, a wave of discomfort swept through the venue. Photographers exchanged glances, and reporters hurriedly checked their materials. Wait. What is the meaning of this? CEO William Parker's voice resonated heavily through the room. Behind him stood executives who appeared to have been urgently summoned, their expressions severe. Ashley whispered in a small voice. "Mom, isn't this really bad?" Mother had already lost her composure. Light sweat appeared on her forehead as she desperately tried to control her trembling hands. But the CEO cut off Mother's words mercilessly. "Do you understand the importance of this project? Royal Safari Experience isn't just another luxury resort development. It's an innovative project with the potential to change Africa's future." The atmosphere in the venue instantly froze. The British nobleman straightened in his chair, all previous gentleness gone from his expression. "How incredibly rude. We flew all the way from London to evaluate this project's potential." The Dubai investor was already engaged in heated exchanges on his smartphone. "With such sloppy management, we'll have to reconsider our investment. A $1.5 billion project, and this." His words trailed off, perhaps out of consideration for those around him. However, his intent was clear. The Hollywood producer, surprisingly, looked amused. "This could make an interesting documentary. The Betrayed $1.5 billion, or maybe The Paradise of Illusions would be better." His assistant frantically took notes. On social media, users worldwide began speculating about this unprecedented incident. Gatecrashers at $1.5 billion ultra-luxury resort project. Family impersonates VIPs, the shameless act of the century. Brighton Group's credibility questioned, stock price may plummet. Ashley's face turned pale. Her Instagram follower count visibly decreased. Her reputation as an influencer was crumbling audibly. "It's all Melissa's fault." Mother suddenly raised her voice. "If this was such an important job, she should have explained it better. She tricked us." Father sank into his chair with a deep sigh. At that moment, the lounge's large doors opened, and over a dozen men and women in suits entered. All wore Brighton Group legal and compliance department badges. The CEO nodded briefly to them before turning back to the family. His expression no longer showed anger, rather, a kind of resignation. "I apologize, but we cannot overlook such a serious breach of trust." His voice was quiet but carried absolute authority. "You will return home immediately." In the luxury hotel lobby, my parents and Ashley were hurriedly packing their bags, essentially being thrown out. Emergency return flight tickets and hotel cancellation fees totaling about $20,000 were presented like a final blow. Father stared blankly at the bill. This isn't what we... Mother seemed beyond tears. What have we done? Ashley was still staring at her smartphone. I've already lost over 100,000 followers. The three walked through the lobby under cold stares from those around them. The space, filled with luxurious furnishings, had satisfied their sense of superiority just hours ago. Now it felt like a corridor to hell. The hotel's automatic doors opened. Africa's scorching sunlight struck them mercilessly. A car to the airport was already waiting. A month had passed. Austin had returned to its usual peaceful routine. However, the aftershocks of that incident still lingered within our family. The board highly values your handling of the situation, said CEO William Parker, and I quietly nodded. After the incident, I made no excuses or justifications, simply apologized sincerely and dealt with the situation. As a result, the Royal Safari Experience project actually garnered more attention than before. Your calm judgment and resolute attitude, that's the true professionalism we were looking for. From the office window, I could see Rainy Street. The former warehouse district had been reborn as a new business center. Change sometimes brings pain, but new vistas await beyond it. That evening, my apartment doorbell rang. Melissa. Mother's voice had lost its former arrogance. Father stood beside her, holding a familiar paper bag that wafted the aroma of my favorite lasagna from Caraba's Italian grill. Come in. After I showed them to the living room, my parents remained silent for a long time. Outside the window, the Texas sunset painted the city red. Its light made the tears on Mother's cheeks sparkle like tiny jewels. I'm sorry. Mother squeezed out the words of apology. Father too opened his mouth heavily with a deep sigh. No, I imposed our values on you without trying to understand your life. Silence fell. I should have explained things better too. My parents looked up in surprise at my words. Instead of helping you understand the importance of my work, I just rebelled. That was my immaturity. Mother slightly shook her head. No, you're amazing. Rather, we were. Her words trailed off. But no more words were needed. Warm steam rose from the lasagna on the table. The aroma was nostalgic, like family memories. 6 months later, the family gathered around the Thanksgiving table. Could you teach me how to make this sauce? Mother showed interest in the Kenyan recipe I'd brought back. Lately, she'd been watching African cooking shows. Hey, Melissa. Ashley called out to me. She had started sharing content about working women's lifestyles on her social media. Though she had fewer followers than before, she said she was now reaching people with truly meaningful messages. Could I give you photography advice for your next project? I couldn't help but smile at my sister's words. Of course. Your sense is genuine. Father looked up from his newspaper, quietly watching us. The resignation that once marked his expression had vanished. Melissa, would you speak about your work at next week's lecture? I want to teach the students that there are various ways to live in this world. The aroma of turkey filled the room. On the table sat Mother's homemade pumpkin pie, next to my new dish seasoned with Kenyan spices. Like different cultures mixing together, we were gradually finding harmony despite our different values. Outside the window, night was falling quietly over Austin. There, a new family story had definitely begun.